At first, it seemed like love in the movies. He was attentive, present, the type who sends messages just to say, "I just wanted to hear your voice." And me? I threw myself into it head first. I opened up my life, my pains, my routines. I shared my password, my schedule, my plans for the future. But over time, something started to change. Little things. He started turning his phone screen down. He would disappear for hours saying he needed space. And every time I asked, I always got the same answer. "You're overreacting. It's all in your head." Until one day, something unexpected happened. And that's when my paranoia proved to be the truth he was hiding. It all started with things so small that they almost went unnoticed. Messages that used to come frequently became fewer and fewer. He used to send a "good morning" before the sun even rose. Now he barely responded before 10. And when I asked him, the answer was always the same. "You're seeing things that aren't there. You're getting paranoid." The first time he called me paranoid, it hurt. Not because of the word itself, but because of the way he said it, without even looking me in the eye, as if the problem was always me. And I started to believe it. I started policing myself, repressing any instinct that seemed too suspicious. But something inside me wouldn't be silenced. That feeling you can't explain, but that tightens your chest as if something were hidden there, right in front of you. Time passed, and the signs became more evident. He hid his cell phone with frightening speed. He would come home and go straight to the shower, taking his phone with him, even when he said the battery was low. His schedule changed. The last-minute appointments increased. Before, he was predictable, stable, methodical. Now, everything was improvised. Lunch here, a business trip there. But he always came back with the same excuse and the same rehearsed smile. I started to feel like an intruder in my own home. I was afraid to ask, afraid to investigate, because he had done an excellent job of convincing me that it was my fault. You need to trust more. Relationships can't survive without trust. Beautiful words spoken by someone who hid the evidence perfectly. Until one day, without meaning to, everything started to come to light. It was a normal Tuesday. He left saying he had a meeting with a new client, but he forgot his smartwatch on the table. I've never been the snooping type. I never needed to be. But that day, it was as if something pulled me in. I picked up the watch. I scanned the notifications, and that's when I saw it. "Good night, my love. Sleep with the angels. I miss you." The blood drained from my face. It was almost midnight, and he had said he was too exhausted to talk to me that day. My heart started beating so fast that I could barely hold the watch steady in my hands, but when I tried to access more, the watch asked for authentication. The next day, he came back as if nothing had happened. He said the client was good people, but that he probably wouldn't close the deal. And before I could comment on the watch, he had already taken it back. From then on, I went into silent mode. I didn't argue. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry. But I started to observe even more. A few days later, I noticed that he carried 2 backpacks, one for work and one for the gym, according to him. One time, he forgot the gym bag in the car, and when he fell asleep, I went to the garage. I opened the backpack. Among workout clothes and a water bottle, there was a small box. Inside, a cell phone was turned off. It was old, discreet, nothing that would attract attention. I took it to my room and turned it on. No password, no biometrics. And when the screen lit up, my world fell apart. It was as if I had opened the door to a parallel universe, a gallery with hundreds of photos, none with me, long, passionate conversations with another woman, messages about children, buying a house, travel plans. Her name was Camilla, and from what I read, they had been together for at least 2 years. She sent selfies in the morning, saying, "Think of me today?" He replied with affectionate audio messages, calling her my love. There were screenshots of plane tickets, hotel reservations, messages exchanged over the weekend, just when he said he was going to visit his mother, and more. There were 2 other similar conversations, with other women, each with a different nickname, each with promises of exclusivity. He didn't just have one parallel life, he had several. There it was, the evidence I never wanted to find, but it found me anyway. I closed my phone. I put it back in my backpack. I went to the bathroom and cried for almost an hour without making a sound. The next day, he took me out to dinner, as if nothing had happened. He looked me in the eyes, held my hand, and said, I'm sorry if I've been distant these past few days. I'm just trying to improve, for us. And it was there, sitting at the table, pretending to smile, that I realized I was living with an actor, someone who memorized lines, acted affectionate, and turned my life into a theater. I spent days pretending everything was normal, waiting for the right moment to act, because after so long being called paranoid, I wanted the truth to hit him hard enough to crush any excuse. I was going to let him see what it's like to live in doubt, and I was going to walk out the door without looking back. I had never felt so alone. I was sleeping next to a man who smiled as if he loved me, who made plans for the future, who still asked, "Is everything okay, love?" even though he knew exactly what he was doing behind my back. And the worst part? He knew I was suspicious. He liked to make me doubt my own sanity. It became the biggest mind game of my life. And as much as it hurt, I started playing too. I started observing everything. The times, the places, the excuses. The days when he would leave, saying he was going to meet a client and come back wearing perfume I didn't wear. I started taking notes. I created a small hidden diary where I recorded every inconsistency, every strange conversation, every lie disguised as a coincidence. That became my strength, because every note was living proof that I wasn't crazy. The following week, he said he was going to spend 2 days in another city. It was an important event for the company, and he would be too busy to talk. I just smiled. I kissed him on the forehead. I wished him a good trip. But as soon as he left, I did the unthinkable. I called the hotel where he said he was staying. "I'm sorry, ma'am. We don't have anyone registered under that name." I took a deep breath. I thanked them. I hung up. I opened the secret cell phone I had taken from his backpack days ago and hidden with me. I moved it carefully, already knowing what I would find, and I found it. New photos. He was at a bed and breakfast, yes, but with another woman, the same Camilla from the conversations. She was wearing a flowery dress and holding a glass of wine. She smiled like someone who believed she was living the love of her life. In another photo, they were lying in a hammock, embracing each other. In the background was the same room that appeared on the inn's Instagram profile. Camilla posted the photos to her close friends. I found out because I used his own cell phone to access the fake account he used to follow her. And that's when I knew. He was doing this to others too, with different profiles, with different lives, with lies tailored to each of them. It wasn't just cheating. It was a large-scale emotional manipulation project. There, faced with that evidence, I finally understood. He didn't love me. He used me. He used me for stability, a clean house, dinner on the table, company during his empty hours. And when I turned my back, he ran to feed his ego with applause on other stages. I went back to my room and stared at myself in the mirror. I saw a tired woman, with dark circles under her eyes that weren't from sleepless nights, but from months of denying her own pain. My reflection asked me, "How long are you going to allow this?" So I decided. I was going to turn the tables. In the days that followed the exposure, he desperately tried to rebuild the house of cards. He sent flowers, handwritten letters, empty promises. He even said he would delete all my contacts, that he could prove he loved me, that he would change for real this time. He cried. He knelt down. He said he never thought he would lose me. But all that didn't reach me anymore. Because the biggest discovery I made wasn't on that hidden cell phone. It was inside me. I discovered that I had spent months belittling myself, swallowing my suspicions, swallowing my tears, swallowing my own intuition, because I was afraid of being called crazy. And when the truth exploded before my eyes, I realized that everything he said was an exaggeration, was my instinct trying to protect me. It took me a while to understand, but I understood. The deepest betrayal wasn't with other women. It was with my trust, with my mind, with my sense of reality. He distanced me from friends who were suspicious. He said my best friend was putting bad ideas in my head. He made me cut ties with people who I now see were trying to open my eyes. It was all calculated. Every word he said, every accusation of paranoia, every attempt to isolate me, it was all part of a cycle of manipulation. And what hurts me the most, it's knowing that I knew, that deep down, I knew. But I had to touch the wound, look at the evidence, see the messages, listen to the audio recordings, to accept that it wasn't love, it was control, it was theater. The rebuilding began in silence. The day after that dinner, I went to sleep somewhere else, and for the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully, without his breathing next to me, without the constant feeling of being betrayed even inside my own home, without the fear of asking questions, without the guilt of feeling. In the days that followed, I began to relearn who I was. I rediscovered my love of walking alone. I started listening to my old playlists again. I reconnected with friends I had pushed away without realizing it. I took his photos off the shelf. I gave away his gifts. I changed the sheets. Each gesture was a healing ritual. I sought therapy. I talked to other women who had been in similar relationships, and I understood that what I had experienced had a name: gaslighting, the art of reversing blame, of making the victim feel like the villain, of creating an illusion so well constructed that you start to hate yourself for doubting something that is, in fact, real. It wasn't my fault, and that was the hardest lesson to learn, because we blame ourselves. We blame ourselves for trusting, for believing, for ignoring the signs, for staying too long, for keeping quiet for fear of appearing insecure. But today, I know, the mistake was never feeling too much. The mistake was accepting so little for so long. Today, I speak firmly, without fear of being judged. I was betrayed, I was manipulated, and I came out of it stronger than I went in. And the best part? Now, he has no control over my narrative. He can say whatever he wants. He can say that I was radical, that I didn't give him a chance, that I reacted dramatically. But deep down, he knows, whoever hides a cell phone with another whole life also hides an empty heart. And I'm not a woman who settles for half measures, for crumbs, for excuses. I am whole, even when I break. I am whole because I rebuild myself with truths, and I will never again let myself be reduced by lies. Today, I look back with gratitude, not for everything he did, but for everything I allowed to end. Because in that ending, a new beginning was born. And now, the only secret life that exists is the one I choose to live freely.